If you are a guy who's trying to level up, get strong, lose weight, and do it all from home training with kettlebells, I can tell you right now that there's only 5 programming systems that you need to know, understand, and implement to be able to see the results that you want to see. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through exactly what those things are. And so what's up, y'all? My name is Coach Grant. And in the next couple minutes, I'm going to take you through what's called the Kettlebell Programming Masterclass. And my goal of this masterclass is to give you a simple programming system that you can start using today to build the body and the strength that you want training with kettlebells. Now, with that being said, if you are a guy who is trying to lose 20 to 30 pounds or more, you're trying to do it all from home, you're trying to put all the pieces together, I would highly recommend going and checking out the very first video on our YouTube channel called How to Lose 20 to 30 Pounds in the Next 16 Weeks Using the Kettlebell Transformation System. That's a video where we go in depth on the system that our clients use, that we've been implementing for the last 2.5 years with over 450 plus men, helping our guys put all of the pieces together, how to lose weight, how to get strong, how to maximize your lifestyle habits, and how to make sure the results that you get are permanent. And they do it all from home training with bells. So if you're a guy who's really trying to put the pieces together, I would highly recommend going and checking that out. Now, let's get back to programming. With that being said, I have done a lot of one-on-one consultations with guys, asking them about their goals, trying to understand what they feel is getting in their way, and all of it revolving around being able to use kettlebells to get the results they want. And there's 2 main things that guys run into. They say they're roadblocks. Number 1 is just a lack of consistency, but number 2 is not being sure where to start, not being sure what system do I start with, what do I stick with, and what do I stay invested into long-term to see the changes that I want to see. And I think that question is pretty understandable because the world of kettlebell training and health and fitness in general is a big, wide, ambiguous world. There's lots of different things that you can be doing, and there's lots of different coaches giving you lots of different workouts and exercises. And, you see people doing swings and get-ups and snatches and squats and double snatches, people talking about hard style kettlebells or sports style kettlebells. So it's no wonder that guys can feel confused, not knowing where to start, not knowing what to stick to. And so what we use with our guys inside the Kettlebell Transformation System is what's called the Kettlebell Transformation Roadmap. And so what we've done is we've taken the big, ambiguous world of kettlebell training and distilled it down into one 6-level system. So our guys know what they should focus on first, what they should transition to second, and how long they should spend at each level to really maximize the results they're trying to achieve. And so from a high-level perspective, and this works for any guy who's just trying to put together a training roadmap at home on his own, is that level 1 is all about 2-hand swings, get-ups, and goblet squats. Level 2 is where you start to incorporate 1-hand swings, cleans, and front squats, but you continue to focus on the basics of swings, get-ups, and goblets. So you'll notice as I go through this level system, every level will build upon the last. So level 3 is where you focus on the snatch. Level 4 is where you focus on the press and the push press. Level 5 is where you start to incorporate the double snatch. And level 6 is where you incorporate jerks, double jerks, clean and jerks, some of the more versatile and effective exercises that you can do training with bells. But you can see here as you get to level 5, level 6, which is kind of the ultimate milestone, you want to have a fully built out kettlebell toolbox, something that you feel confident in, that you know every exercise, you know every skill, and it's something you can use for life. Now, on top of that, our guys, when they're in that 6-level system, they only focus on 3 things. They'll focus on skill, they'll focus on building strength, and then they'll focus on widening their endurance level. And the number 1 thing that our guys focus on, after obviously making sure their technique is right, is really building strength. It is a thread that they are continuously focused on when they are inside of our coaching systems and following our programming methods. And so there's big milestones that our guys are shooting for in every single level when they're training in that 6-level system. So when guys in a level 1, if you're just doing swings, get-ups, and goblet squats, some of your first big milestones that you should be shooting for is a 32 kg swing for a set of 10, 24 kg get-up on each side, and a 24 kg goblet squat for a set of 5. Then level 2, you might go to double front squats and might use double 24s, double cleans is 24 kgs, one-hand swings is 32 kgs. And you can notice as I go through this and you start to see how the weights will build upon one another, the weights for everything from level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 continue to build as well. And so by the time you get to level 6 and you're starting to learn and incorporate the jerk, The big milestone for you might be getting to the point where you can do just 24 kg clean and jerks. But below that, you've built to doing 24 kg double snatches, 32 kg presses, 40K snatches, 32K front squats, 32K double cleans, 48K one-hand swings, 56K goblet squats, 48 to 56K get-ups, and 48 to 56K swings. And you might be a guy who's thinking about this being like, that sounds insane. That sounds crazy. And it's because it is. But I can tell you right now that I've got everyday guys who are going through this system who follow this roadmap who can achieve these levels of strength within 1 to 2 years. It just takes consistency, and it takes following a very specific style of programming that I'm going to go over with you today. Now, the big question becomes, if you're trying to get to level 6, you're trying to maximize your strength, you're trying to maximize your toolbox, how do you get there? And so inside the Kettlebell Transformation Programming System, we use 5 specific programming methods. Number 1 is what's called a step progression. Number 2 is a time under tension progression. Number 3 is a volume progression. 4 is a bracket progression. And number 5, my personal favorite for building muscle, is what's called a ladder progression. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break each of these down one by one and show you exactly how you can start putting together programs on your own and start really maximizing the results that you're trying to get training with bells at home. So step number 1, the step progression. Number 1, this simplifies the strength process. This is the foundation for pretty much everything we do inside of our training modalities is the step progression. Number 2, it's the number 1 programming method for swings and get-ups. If you want to take your swing and get up to the 32, the 40, the 48K and above, this has got to be at a core programming method that you use multiple times a week. And number 3, the goal here is to increase your strength without ever feeling like you're grinding. And so the way that this works is, this is an example of a step progression for, say, level 1. So you're training swings and get-ups. So say for swings, you're going to do 10 sets of 10. For get-ups, you're going to do 5 sets of 1 and 1. And you might be training 2, 3, 4 times a week. You'd have to decide that for yourself. But what you're going to do is you're going to establish a moderate and a heavy bell. And your goal is to basically turn your heavy bell into your moderate bell. And so here's what I mean by that. This is a example of someone who's following a step progression for swings. And so let's just look at phase 1, the bottom row here. You see 10 M's. So that's 10 sets of moderate. And so this is 10 sets of 10 swings, 100 total. And right now in phase 1, so this would be like week 1, they would do all of their sets with their moderate bell. Then phase 2, they would start to add in rounds with their heavy bell. So they would do 2 rounds with heavy and take out 2 rounds moderate. Phase 3, they go to 4 rounds heavy. Phase 4, they go to 6 rounds heavy. Phase 5, they go to 8. And phase 6, they would go all the way to heavy. So basically by that time, they have taken all of their sets and turned their heavy bell into their moderate bell. And the one thing I will give here as an asterisk is that each phase can last a different amount of time. And so that's going to be dependent on how fast you are acclimating to the weight that you're trying to level up to. And so you might spend 2 weeks at phase 1, you might spend 2 weeks at phase 2, you might spend 3 or 4 weeks at phase 3, 3 or 4 weeks at phase 4. And so that can change based on how fast you are acclimating to the next bell up in your sequence. Same goes for an example of get-ups. And so this is a phase 1 through 6 example of get-ups. Now, biggest difference here is that we don't layer in 2 at a time, we just layer in 1. And so the example here is you're doing 5 sets of 1 and 1 on each side, all with your moderate bell in phase 1. And then phase 2, you add in 1 round heavy, phase 3, 2 rounds heavy, phase 4, 3, all the way until you go all heavy rounds by the end of phase 6. And the same idea here is that these 2 swings and get-ups, the phases could go together or they could go separate. You could potentially level up faster with your swings than you do your get-ups, but regardless, you're still trying to make that heavy bell turn back into your moderate bell. It's the same type of system that guys like my guy Mark here used to drop over 160 pounds. When Mark came to us, he was using a 35-pound bell for swings. He was doing a 20-pound bell for get-ups. And here he's swinging a 48 kg, which is 106 pounds. And here he's doing a 44 kg get-up, which is 97 pounds, just under 100 pounds. So this guy, basically what he did was he took 100 pounds off of his body and put it into his hand for swings and get-ups, following a programming system like this. Or my guy, Mike here, who today marked, when he posted this, it was his 1-year anniversary. But the biggest thing for Mike was that he increased his Turkish get-ups from 10K to 40K, and he increased his two-hand swings from 16K to 40K, all using a system like the step progression. Or my guy Vip, who hit a 48 kg get-up in just less than 18 months in the KT system. When he started, I remember I was in his driveway training with him. He was doing 12 kg, 16 kg get-ups, really trying to get the technique down. Fast forward 18 months later, he hits a 48 kg on each side in that same driveway. And so it's a system that works, all right? So the step progression is your foundation. That's one that you gotta, if you really want to get strong, that's a goal of yours, it's gotta be a foundation almost every week. Now, second programming style is the time under tension progression. And so this is a get-up specific style of programming. So this doesn't really work for anything else outside of get-ups. And it was something that we actually learned through running classes in our gym for almost 9 years and having our members then start to do time under tension get-ups. But the goal here is that it's designed to create massive strength adaptations without having to ever layer in a heavier bell into your training. And I can tell you right now that this style of programming paired with the step progression is the single reason why we guarantee any guy will crush a 32 kg get up in their first 16 weeks inside the KT system. And so here's an example of how it works. You're training get-ups. You're going to train between 10 to 20 total get-ups per session. So that means 5 and 5 to 10 and 10. You're going to start with singles on each side, just like you saw in the step progression example. You can do 5 singles on each side, but your goal is to build to doing quads, doing 4 in a row. So normally a Turkish get up is get up, get back down, switch sides. 4 in a row would mean get up, get down, keep the bell up, and get up again until you do 4 in a row without putting the bell down. Now, the big thing here is that you got to give yourself permission to be flexible with your programming time frame. This is another one where it's going to take a while for you to adapt to doing multiple reps with a bell. Now, from a programming perspective, here's exactly what it looks like. There's 2 big milestones that our guys will hit, balloons, 2 big milestones that our guys will hit when they're trying to layer in time under tension get-ups. Number 1 is the road to 3 and 3, aka doing a triple on each side. And number 2 is a road to 4 and 4. And so phase 1 for road to 3 and 3 would look something like this, where phase 1 you're doing all singles, phase 2 you're adding in 1 double but taking 1 single out. Phase 3 you're going to do a single, double, double. Phase 4 single, double, single, double. Phase 5 3 doubles, and phase 6 you finally hit single, double, triple. And so the whole goal there is to just get your body used to doing multiple reps of time under tension with doubles so that you can hit that very first big milestone, which is a triple on each side. Now the road to 4 and 4 looks a little bit different. And so at the beginning, you're going to work single, double, triple, then double, double, triple, then single, triple, triple, until you go double, triple, triple, double, triple, double, triple, until you, at the end, phase 6, go single, double, and then you hit that quad. And the reason that this is so important is because every guy has goals of getting stronger, right? Every guy, I think, in his head wants to get stronger, but sometimes he has a hard time understanding, well, how do I actually objectively make that happen? And so we have a rule inside of our system that once you can triple or quad a bell, you are then ready for the next bell up. So if you're training Turkish get up, say you're using a 24 kg, once you can do a triple, and especially once you can do a quad with that 24 kg, you are ready to go to the 28 or potentially ready to go to the 32. And it becomes even more important when guys get above the 32 kg mark for Turkish get-ups. So they get to the 32, the 36, the 40. You have to produce some time under tension to make sure that you're ready to start layering in the 44, the 48, or the 56 kg bells. Now, it's the type of system that helped my guy Josh say I'm walking around at work with some boulder shoulders, feeling strong AF. Because he was doing 44-pound doubles and 35-pound triples. It's the same system that took my guy Alan to do a 48K get up, and he said, every time I do a 48K, I get a huge smile on my face because I did the work to get here. Same system that took my guy Alex and took him to a new PR of a double on each side with a 48K bell. That's 106 pounds. Same system that helped Jim have his bells be 62 pounds, 70 pounds, 80 pounds, and it's because of this system that he feels easy to carrying his son around. He enjoys that. He doesn't dread it, but is very heavy get-ups is 88, and his best Turkish get-up ever was a 48 kg, 106 pounds. Same system that took my guy Ryan to 3 rounds plus with the 48. It's amazing how much stronger I get every week. I do the 48 kg with confidence. Same system that took Miguel to a triple 40 kg Turkish get-up PR, and the same system that took my guy Peter to a triple 48 kg bell for the first time ever, and thanking me for convincing him to get strong again. And so if you're a guy who wants to get strong, you got to be doing Turkish get-ups, and you got to be doing time under tension, because there's no other exercise or style of training that exercise that's going to make you feel more like a beast than training get-ups, the time under tension strategy. Now, it takes us to number 3, the volume progression. And so the volume progression works for both ballistics and grinds, meaning it works for both like swings, snatches, cleans, and also get-ups, presses, and squats. Now you're going to use this style of progression for strength and endurance. And the goal here is that this style of progression allows you to easily reverse engineer almost any training goal that you have. And so here's an example of how this works, a heavy swing example. Say your goal is to do 10 sets of 10 with a heavy bell. And right now, you can only do 5 sets of 5 with that bell. And so the way that the volume progression works is it's first going to progress your sets, then it's going to progress your volume. And so phase 1, we'll be doing 5 sets of 5, phase 2, 6 sets of 5, all the way until you go 7, 8, 9, and phase 6, you're doing 10 sets of 5 swings. Now, the next progression of the volume progression is your reps, the total number of reps you do in your session. So the phase 1 would be 10 sets of 5, then 10 sets of 6, then 7, 8, 9, and 10. And just like that, you've taken yourself from only being able to do 5 sets of 5 with the specific heavy bell to doing 10 sets of 10 with that weight. Now, I'm going to add a bonus on top of this, which is a 10 by 10 timing structure. So once you get to the point where you're doing 10 sets of 10, and I would argue that when you are just working sets or just working reps, you don't have to worry about time. But once you get to 10 sets of 10, you want to slowly reduce your time to start to increase, your endurance, your cardio, your ability to really handle that bell. And so phase 1 would be doing a set of 10 on the 2 minutes. So every 2 minutes you do a set of 10, which would take you 20 minutes to do 100 total reps. Phase 2, you would do every set on the minute 45. So you take 15 seconds off. Phase 3, you would do on the 90 seconds. Phase 4, you would do on the 115. Phase 5 is on the minute, which would be doing all 100 swings in 10 minutes. And phase 6 would be being able to do that bell for 100 swings, 10 sets of 10 in less than 10 minutes. And so that's the basics of how do you take any bell, go from 5 sets of 5 to 10 sets of 10, and then be able to really ramp up your cardio in a systematic fashion over time. It's the same style system that took my guy John from, barely using 16 kg for get-ups, barely using a 20 kg for swings in his garage when he first started in the KT system, to his new PRs not that long ago, doing over 140 one-hand swings on the minute with over a 60-pound bell. And so if you're a guy who's really trying to systematically reverse engineer, how do I get to the next bell? The volume progression might be the key for you. Now, number 4 is what's called the bracket progression. And so the bracket progression is one of my favorite strategies for building a wide foundation of endurance training with bells. So you can use this for swings, one-hand swings, and snatches. It works incredibly well for snatches, but it is a style of progression that solidifies your strength and your technique with a specific weight. And that's because in this progression, phase 1 is going all the way from 60, 80, and 100 total reps to phase 6 being able to do 160, 180, and 200 total reps. And so the way that this system works is that if you looked at the 60, 80, and 100, that is 3 separate sessions. So session 1, you do 60 total reps. You either do it in sets of 5 or sets of 10. The 80 would be session 2, and the 100 would be session 3. And so you might train 3 days a week, and those would be your 3 training days. Then week 2, you would either repeat that or you would go to phase 2. Phase 2 is where you bump up 1 rung and go to 80, 100, 120. And then so on and so forth. Phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, 5 until you get all the way to 160, 180, and 200. And so the same rule applies here, where you might need a lot of time at a specific bracket to start to really adapt to the bell that you're using. Because when you're doing 160 total reps versus only doing 60 to 80 total reps, it takes a different toll on the body. It's a different intensity. And so you might spend only 1 or 2 weeks at phase 1, but you might spend 3 or 4 weeks at phase 4. But the ultimate goal is to really wear out the kettlebell that you're using. And this could be for one-hand swings or for snatches or for two-hand swings, but you want to choose a weight and you want to wear that weight out. You want to go all the way from doing 60 reps to doing 200 reps with that single bell. Now that takes us to my guy Alex, who used this style of programming to go all the way to a double, triple get up with an 80-pound bell, followed by 150 total snatches with a 28 kg. Posted this saying he felt like a freaking animal. He never thought he could do something like that, but he just said, you just got to stay consistent and follow the programming systems that work. Now, the last progression, and I told you this was my favorite progression for building muscle, and it's the ladder progression. And so this is the best strategy to start building grinding strength. So you'd use this for presses, squats, jerks, things like that. This is the style of progression that is best used for building muscle and packing on mass. So if you're a guy who likes to grind, likes to do some pressing and squatting, this is going to be for you. And so the ladder progression is a little bit different than the last 4 styles. So instead of having 6 phases, we're only going to have 3 phases. And the goal here is to systematically go from one end of the spectrum rep-wise to another in a very specific fashion, specific progression. So the way I mean that is, in phase 1, you're going to do 18 total reps in session 1, but by the end of phase 1, you're going to do 60 total reps in your session. And so in phase 1, you're going to do a single, a double, and a triple for 3 rounds. Then you're going to go single, double, triple for 4 rounds, all the way until single, double, triple for 10 total rounds. That goes from 18 total reps to 60. Now, that could be 1 session at each. That could be 2 sessions at each. That just depends on how fast you want to progress. Now, phase 2, the way the ladder progresses is, you probably guessed it, you're going to add a rung to the ladder. So you're going to add a 4 to the end of that 1, 2, 3. And so in this progression, you're going to go from 20 total reps doing 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2, all the way to 70 total reps of 1, 2, 3, 4 times 7. And I'll say this too. I should have said this at the beginning, but when you do these, you want to make sure you set the bells down in between each set. So if you're doing 1, 2, 3 presses, you're going to do 1 press, set the bells down, shake it off. Then you're going to do 2 presses, set it down, shake it off. Then you're going to do 3. That would be your first set. You would do that 3 rounds. And so you want to give your body rest. The whole goal here is to build some endurance at a lower rep range, but doing lots of rounds. Now, phase 3 is, like you guessed it, you're going to add a 5 to the end of that ladder. And so this takes you from 15 total reps, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, all the way to a 75 total rep session, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 5. Now, for those of you doing the math, this is 19 total sessions here. And so if you were to just do 1 session, say you did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, times 3, times 4, times 5 for the first phase, you would have just over 6 weeks of programming following a ladder progression like you see here. And I'll say this, the ladder progression is easily the thing that's helped me pack the most muscle on training with bells. Without a doubt. I love the other 4 styles of programming, step progression, time under tension, use those all the time. But anytime in my training career when I've been trying to add mass, pack shoulders on, build my abs, build my lats, the ladder progression has been what I've chosen to use. And so you might be following me right now being like, wait, what? There's a lot of information, there's a lot of reps, and there's a lot of different strategies on how to do this. But I can tell you right now that those 5 that we just went over are without a doubt the most effective at being able to transform your strength and transform your endurance and build any body composition that you want. Now, putting it all together, inside of the Kettlebell Transformation System, our guys use 2 styles of programming. So if you want insight into how we put the whole thing together, we look at it in terms of 2 phases. So number 1, our guys will follow what's called a progression phase, meaning The goal is to build new foundations of strength and endurance, aka set new PRs following the style of programming that they're using. So they're trying to go up bells 4 to 8 kg at a time. Then they follow what's called a bridge phase. And the bridge phase is where they need to learn new skills, they need to dial in their technique, and they want to pull back the intensity so that they can give themselves the ability to climb the next mountain, go for the next PR, go for the next skill in the progression phase. And so if you were to look at this in terms of the 6-level system that we have laid out, the way that our guys follow a programming style is they start at level 1 with a progression phase. So for us, that's a 16-week program that is focused on progressing your swing, your get up, and your goblet. Then from there, they're going to go into a bridge. This is a level 2 bridge where they're learning the one-hand swing, the clean, the front squat. They pull back a little bit of intensity and they give themselves a little bit of a break so that they're ready for the level 2 progression phase. Because eventually they're going to want to start building some strength. They're going to want to set PRs in the one-hand swing, the clean, and the front squat, and they're going to want to continue to build upon the two-hand swing, get up, and goblet squat strength that they built in level 1. And this process goes so on and so forth throughout this entire level system, where each level has a bridge that takes you into the next level, and then you have a progression that specifically helps you build different strength and endurance and sets PRs and really has you level up to the point where guys get to the end of that level 6 where they're using 32 kg, 40 kg, 48 kg, 56 kg bells, but it's because of this 16-week, 6-week style of programming structure that they've implemented inside of our kettlebell transformation system. And so if you're wondering, how do you put this together? This is exactly how our guys do it. And so if you are a guy, I'll remind you now, if you're a guy who is trying to put the pieces together, you're trying to understand how you can piece your training, your nutrition, your general activity, everything else that has to happen in order for you to lose weight and get strong, I'd highly recommend going and checking out. I can't go into obviously the sets and the reps and the details on how all of these programs work, but I do go into a little more detail on the system as a whole and how our clients implement all of the different puzzle pieces in our video that's at the front of our YouTube page, which is the how to lose 20 to 30 pounds in 16 weeks using the kettlebell transformation system. Now, the other thing I'll say is that if you are a guy who is trying to lose weight, trying to get strong, and you're sold and you don't want to put the pieces together on your own, you don't want to have to go build your programming on your own, then all you have to do is click below this video. There should be a link and you can apply for our kettlebell transformation system, because inside that system, we implement this roadmap. So we implement the kettlebell transformation roadmap. All of this is done for you. All of the sets, all of the reps, all of the sequences, you know exactly what to do, how many days a week you're training, what style of programming you're following, so that you don't have to think about anything. All you have to do is show up, execute, and just follow through, and eventually you'll end up at level 6 being ridiculously strong and really transform your health once and for all. And so if you're a guy who knows that you've seen enough, you don't want to do this on your own, click the link below and apply for the system. It takes 2 minutes, and then you'll be able to schedule a call with my team, and we'll be able to talk to you about the system and how it works. Otherwise, I am going to take this slide deck and I will put it into a PDF. I will have it below this video so you can grab this slide deck and you can take a look at the programming systems and figure out if you want to piece the puzzle pieces together on your own. You can absolutely do that. All right. Hope that makes sense. I hope you guys got value out of this, and cheers to all of you who watched to the end, who are stoked about getting strong training with kettlebells from home, because that's what we do. All right. See you in the next vid.